Hello everyone, listening to African history. Today in history I want to talk about the life of the late Thomas Sankara, the former president of Burkina Faso, who was assassinated on 15th December 1987. He was a president of Burkina Faso for only 4 years. Born in Yako village, Upper Volta, on 21st December 1949, that was his date of birth. So by the time he was assassinated, Thomas Sankara was only 37 years. He's a person who is regarded up to now as a pure African revolutionist, as a pan-African leader. He was patriotic to his country, very patriotic to his continent. He loved Africa so much, to an extent that he wanted to fight imperialism, and he never wanted to go with anything to do with imperialism. Since he was a Marxist, there are some things that he never wanted to tolerate with. During the time when France colonized Burkina Faso, they named it Upper Volta, but later when Thomas Sankara took over power in a coup, that was in 1983, he decided to rename it as Burkina Faso, which ideally meant the land of the upright people, because he believed that Africans are upright people, and people who lived in Burkina Faso were living in the land of the upright people. So he believed in his country so much, and he believed in his continent. He loved Africa. Not any other leader on Africa can prove this as compared to the late Thomas Sankara. One day at the Organization of African Unity in July 1987, Thomas Sankara was quoted saying that one person who feeds you usually imposes his will upon you. That implied that he never wanted to tolerate with anything to do with imperialism. He never wanted to get funding from his former colonial masters. He never wanted to get money from International Monetary Fund. He even went ahead to persuade his fellow African countries and African leaders to stop paying, or they should refuse to pay the financial debts that their former colonial masters demanded them to pay. Other things that you should know about Thomas Sankara: as a young army captain, came to power in a military coup in early 1980s. He launched a radical political experiment unlike others on African continent. Sankara was deeply influenced by his study of Marxist revolution. He urged every village and city in Burkina Faso for the defense of the revolution, local bodies that promote social welfare. Across the country, people came together to build schools, healthcare, health centers, dams, water reservoirs, and irrigation schemes. Sankara nationalized all the land and invested heavily in agriculture. Like any other government, Sankara's government also faced some challenges which were caused by union and students group with whom Sankara had publicly quarreled with them. On the day when he was killed, Sankara had spent most of his night writing or drafting speech, which he hoped that would bridge the ideological rift that was growing between his government and those groups, which he urgently wanted to address. And as a president, he suspected this was being fueled by his former right-hand man, that was Blaise Compaoré. One day I will come and talk about Blaise Compaoré and his life and the assassination of Thomas Sankara. It is alleged that he participated in the killing of Thomas Sankara. In his speech, he said, whatever the contradiction, whatever the opposition, solutions will be found as long as confidence reigns. And that is what he had written in his speech, because he wanted to make sure that he bridges a gap between the students and union groups that were building pressure on his government, and he had some misunderstandings with these students. So in this speech he had prepared, he was going to discuss it with the cabinet so that they can address those challenges. I think in a blink of an eye there was a burst of machine gun fire that interrupted the proceeding of the meeting. Then there was a noise that came out, everybody out. Somebody shouted from out, telling them that everybody out. So Sankara realized that he was the target. So he ordered his ministers to make sure that they remain behind, as he told them that I know I am the one whom they want, so remain behind. He moved out, raising his hands over his head as he walked out onto the front steps. He exited the meeting. The squad of Compaoré, they answered to their boss, who told them that shoot him, and he was shot. After the shooting of Thomas Sankara, Compaoré later insisted that his men had not acted with his orders. In fact, after that, the official death certificate of Thomas Sankara showed that he died of natural death by a nightfall. Compaoré was the president. That implies that they had planned everything, because immediately on the very day when he was killed, that was the very day when Compaoré took over as the president. That implies that he participated in the killing of Thomas Sankara, who was a great leader in Burkina Faso, who fought for the rights of the poor people, who fought for the rights of he made sure that the rights of the people in Burkina Faso are protected. He suspended forced marriages, genital mutilation, polygamy, and other things. So he was a good leader. If you've liked my session, you can like, share, comment, and you can advise where to improve. In the next session, I will be presenting about Compaoré and his government. Thank you very much.